When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed, and the great star early drooped in the western sky in the night, I mourned and yet shall mourn with ever-returning spring. Those words written by Walt Whitman in April 1865, 4 days after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, are a sort of a marvellous moment captured in literary history when a poet reflects on something absolutely catastrophic, when the whole nation was sort of plunged into a sense of absolute confusion, I suspect, when President Lincoln was assassinated. And in a very different way, there's quite an immense atmosphere in the world at large, not just in the United States of America, but certainly here in the UK, with the election result from last week's U.S. election and the return of Mr. Trump. Now, this video is not going to be in any sense a political video. I'm not going to comment on the election itself. I've just played an improvisation, very much in the moment. I hope it worked. Me in the moment, improvising in a kind of chorale prelude style on the American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. I'm here with Loki. We're both in a pensive mood after the events of last week. So there's lots to reflect on. And the style of my improvisation was kind of influenced, I suppose, by my encounter today with a remarkable piano piece. I was thinking, really, when I was putting this together or planning this discussion, I was trying to think of a piece of music that might in some way encapsulate the mood. So the encounter that I had this week, it's marvellous when this happens, when you discover a piece of music you've never heard before. And this was leafing through the piano work of Amy Beach, the great late Romantic American composer. Sort of end of the 19th century is when she learned her craft. Very much, I'd say that the fabric of her musical style derives from, I suppose, Brahms and the late 19th century German style, but she makes it into something uniquely her own. And this piece, which is called A Hermit Thrush at Eve, was written in 1921 when she was, I suppose, on retreat, on a kind of creative retreat at the MacDowell Centre in the States, where artists could go and sort of convalesce or go and be at peace and work. And she wrote this in 1921, and it's a beautiful piece and quite unique. It really is nothing like nothing else. It has this harmonic idiom that's very radical, unique to her. Now, one of the marvellous things about it, it's a piece that's in E-flat minor. It's very brooding. It has this sort of a Brahmsian, I mentioned Brahms a minute ago, this sort of Brahmsian thing where you have this, well, circle of fifths, these falling, 3-note fourths. So it's very much in the lamenting style, you know, as soon as you've got these, in a certain sense, that's absolutely sort of a standard progression, but she does something very beautiful with it because of these interlocking rhythmic patterns. So she sets up this lamenting style, but what's really unexpected and extraordinary is that sort of, well, let's say well into the second page of the piece, you have this beautiful passage where it's as if she's opening the curtain, really. You get this rising scale going up and up and up, and eventually it hits this high E flat, and then she introduces this marvellous, absolutely weird, ornamented high melody, and you think, what is this? But what you realise is that, and she's written at the bottom, these bird calls are exact notations of hermit thrush songs in the original keys, but an octave lower, obtained at MacDowell Connolly, Peterborough. Now, there she was, and this is almost like Olivia Messiaen 50 years later. While she's at the MacDowell Colony, she must have heard A Hermit Thrush and gone out, and with her brilliant ear, she was an absolute, first-class musician. Amy Beach, she was a child prodigy and, clearly had an amazing ear. She went out and just wrote the song down. And if you listen to the actual song of A Hermit Thrush, we're going to play you one now. You'll hear that you get this wonderful fluty sound. The hermit thrush, I should say, is a North American bird, unique to North America, and it has a particular richly fluty tone to its voice, and this marvellous, it sounds like a harmonic series. You get these like the upper end of the harmonic series. I'm not quite sure how it's producing this effervescent set of harmonics, but it seems to be able to do it. Birds are amazing. They can do remarkable things with their voices. So here it is. This is what it sounds like. So that beautiful sound of the hermit thrush is echoed in Amy Beach's music. So you'll hear this beautiful these little bursts of song which are remarkably close to the actual song of the hermit thrush, even with the very, very similar pitches. What's striking about this is that when you go back to the poem I read at the beginning, an American classic poem by Walt Whitman, When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloom'd, which he wrote in 1865, as I said at the start, 4 days after the assassination of President Lincoln. The hermit thrush is the central character in the poem, and he keeps coming back to almost like a refrain to this thrush. Here's an example. Sing on, you grey-brown bird. Sing from the swamps, the recesses. Pour your chant from the bushes. Limitless, out of the dusk, out of the cedars and pines. Sing on, dearest brother. Warble your reedy song. Loud human song with voice of uttermost woe. O liquid and free and tender. O wild and loose to my soul. O wondrous singer. It's terrific, isn't it? Whitman is sort of thrilled by the sound of the bird, and in his poem it becomes a voice of lamentation. And the hermit thrush, this North American bird with this wonderful voice, is like a personification of the United States itself. The nation is in mourning, and the bird seems to echo the mood of the nation. So I thought it would be interesting to play this lovely piece by Amy Beach with the call of the hermit thrush. And sometimes music just says things to us, consoles us or speaks to us in a way that words can't. There's huge amounts of mansplaining about the election, and it's a very noisy, angry election and a very noisy and angry aftermath. I thought it would be interesting to make a programme where we don't do any of that. We simply play this marvellous music and allow it to speak. Music often speaks with a richer and more subtle character than human beings. I realise music is human. In fact, that's a topic of many of these videos. It's a very human thing, but it's a form of communication that goes deeper. It goes to a deeper level. It immediately speaks to our emotions, and it immediately conjures up kind of transcendent things that are beyond immediate language. Actually, when Amy Beach was writing her piano piece, A Hermit Thrush at Eve, she doesn't quote Whitman. She quotes a poem by John Vance Cheney, a poet who I have to admit I don't know. Curious, because his second and third names are rather vice-presidential, aren't they? John Vance Cheney. Anyway, his poem says, "Holy, holy in the hush, hearken to the hermit thrush. All the air is in prayer." So let me, without more ado, play Amy Beach's beautiful piano piece, A Hermit Thrush at Eve.